Alright, doing a replay of match 3 of league recorded league number 7. This time with Lurrus Merfolk, and this is actually just after the match, so still pretty fresh. Just fortunately lost the recording, and once again, kind of mysterious what happened. Actually, I closed my computer screen. Maybe that's what happened, and then suddenly it said the recording isn't working, and not only, but unfortunately, it seemed to have deleted whatever recording previously was there. So I don't know. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's get into the game here. Yeah. Wait, this is going kind of quick. Let's try to go play by play. Let's keep the Lurrus in here so we can see. This is, by the way, I'm not sure if you guys can see it all or not, but I'd like to have Lurrus up here on the right-hand corner, kind of like right at the top of my play mat section, if you will. I actually like it there because it reminds me that it's there, but I actually don't like Lurrus being like too close to my hand, because sometimes in the past I've activated Aether Vial thinking Lurrus is in my hand when I was actually just looking at the companion zone. I hate to admit it, but it happened. So I like to have it in a place where I can clearly see it, and I'm not going to get confused that I have it, but at the same time, it never confuses me that it's in my hand. Anyway, so we did decide to keep this hand, because, you know, I mean, we don't know exactly what we're up against, but whatever it is, the opponent reveals a Lurrus of their own, so this Dismember is going to be relevant, and obviously we have 2 Lords, can't really complain. 2 Aether Vials is not exactly the best, but at the same time, it's actually pretty good, believe it or not. I think 2 Aether Vials is probably even better than 1 in this version, because once we take an Aether Vial up to 3, which we almost always will to get Lurrus out, it basically becomes useless after that. So we actually do like to see. So yeah, they surgically extract our master, which is interesting because, you know, but it is what it is. Yeah, we play out Lord of Atlantis here. That's what we're doing. And the main reason we're doing this is we want to play around another discard spell. It's not clear that they're going to present a creature anytime soon, and we don't really care if they take Aether Vial, but we do care a lot if they take Lord of Atlantis. You know, of course, you know, they may have a Lurrus that runs amok, but the thing is, they don't actually have any creatures to really bring back with Lurrus yet, so Lurrus is not even the end of the world. So here's something interesting that happens. If I remember correctly, they go for a Surgical on my Silvergill, and thankfully I can vial in this Surgical in response. Thank goodness. I saw one player playing Extirpate. Extirpate would have been a nightmare. Wouldn't have been able to save this one, but thankfully it's not Extirpate, so I get to save that. And there really was no opportunity for them to catch the Silvergill, if you will, because the upkeep, we took up Aether Vial in our upkeep before our draw step. So, and we draw a Lord, which is like the perfect card to draw. So we can also protect it from discard by just pulling it out, and then we can just play the other Aether Vial off of the Mutavault, and suddenly we're pretty well equipped with a decent amount of gas for Merfolk, and they just concede. Yeah. All right. So so on to the second game. All right, game 2 in the match number 3 for Lurrus Merfolk against Blue-Black Mill. First, so I don't forget, first let's just designate our companions, shall we? They designate theirs, we designate ours. Well, okay, before we go on, first, so I don't forget, let's view the sideboard and explain how I sideboarded. So basically, I sideboarded in the Nihil Spellbombs, and I think that was it. If my memory serves me correctly, I think I took out the Spreading Seas because I don't play those Shelldock Isle or whatever it's called, the land, the hideaway land. They used to, but I think maybe because they really want to play their mill creatures on turn 1 or something, for some reason they seem to be playing less or none of that now. And without that, it's kind of hard to color screw them because they are ultimately a 2-color deck. So yeah, Spreading Seas seemed like the easiest cut, so we decided to just to play Nihil Spellbomb. One of the main things about Nihil Spellbomb is that we can actually target ourselves, which is actually something that Soul Guide Lantern can't. So in this matchup, Nihil Spellbomb is significantly better than Soul Guide Lantern. Soul Guide Lantern gets around Leyline because it says each opponent, but it also means we can't remove our graveyard. And they rely on our graveyard quite a bit because they rely on our graveyard both for Drawn on the Lock and for Visions of Beyond. If we can clear our graveyard in response to either of those, it's a pretty big game, because it just prevents Drawn to the Lock from doing anything, and it just turns Visions of Beyond into a regular draw spell instead of Ancestral Recall. So, you know, let's. There was some consideration to bringing in Chalice of the Void, actually, now that I think about it. But I think Nihil Spellbomb is probably better, especially it just synergizes so well with Lurrus. So yeah. Actually, they do play a ton of 1-drops, though, actually. So, actually, next time I might just experiment with Chalice instead. We do keep this hand, and we do just we do consider that this is basically a 6-card hand, but it's a 6-card hand with pretty good pressure and castable mana. So, yeah, let's have both our Lurruses or Lurri visible. Yeah, so, oh yeah, there was some consideration right there. They went after our Lord of Atlantis there. Obviously, it didn't make any sense to pitch Lord of Atlantis to save Lord of Atlantis, because, well, if we pitch it, it's gone anyway. That's the same exact thing if we pitch Master of the Pearl Trident. I mean, like, so, yeah, at that point, they just, you know, we could have countered it, but it wouldn't have even really done anything, other than having more in our deck, but that's fine. Yeah, so we just played another Aether Vial. We play out Now, actually, I didn't necessarily think about this a lot. My reasoning at the time was just that the third Aether Vial was probably not that much utility, so I just opted to play this land tapped. It turns out that actually that turned out to be a pretty important play. And this is one thing about Merfolk that's a little different than Prowess is sometimes you get a lot more punished if you sequence differently in Merfolk. So thankfully we did sequence correctly here. But if I would have played the Darkslick Shores and played the Aether Vial, it would I think this game could have turned out very differently, and there very likely could have been well, much frustration, let's put it that way. So, let's see here. We obviously tick these up. Yeah, see. And this is what we do. We put Lurrus in the hand. And because one of my reasonings is, I mean, they do Maddening Cacophony us, but that does give us a fresh graveyard with a lot of cards to work with for Lurrus next turn. There was some consideration of whether or not we were going to drop the Master or not, or if we're going to wait. We do ultimately decide to drop the Master. And one of the reasons why is because we actually do see a Master here in the graveyard that they just milled. So we do... Well, actually, no, I think we were going to drop the Master before that, and they responded. Okay, yeah. I think my reasoning was just that, realistically, we had to put a lot of pressure. The reason why I was thinking about maybe not dropping it is because, we wouldn't actually be able to play Silvergill Adept without a Merfolk in hand to reveal. But anyway, we do need to put on the pressure. So we do drop... Yeah, we let that go, because, yeah, we were just going to get it back with Lurrus anyway. So we drop Lurrus. We can buy it back, which we do. We got Deprive up. So we're feeling like we're in a pretty good spot. They only have 1 card in hand. So it goes to our turn. And, yeah, so we feel in a pretty good spot. I mean, they had 1 card in their hand. They just drew their fresh card for the turn. They Fatal Push. So, I was actually thinking, like, why are they... well, here's the thing. They could be Fatal pushing this because they actually, they can't trigger Revolt, so they can't actually deal with Lurrus. So I thought, well, yeah, this is pretty good. I mean, like I was thinking, they only had 1 card in their hand as of last turn. They wouldn't have been able to deal with Lurrus last turn anyway, because I don't think they had an ability to trigger Revolt last turn either. So my thinking was, I mean, the only way we get punished for this is if they draw, I don't know, like Drawn into Lock, like exactly this turn. Otherwise, what I was thinking is, okay, so, probably they don't have a removal spell in their hand because Fatal Push can't target Lurrus anyway, so it makes sense that they'd at least want to slow us down. So I can Deprive this. I don't know what they've got in the hand exactly, but, the odds are unlikely that they happen to draw exactly another removal spell and exactly not another Fatal Push, like exactly like a Drawn in the Lock or something that could actually deal with Lurrus as opposed to another Fatal Push. So I thought, I'll Deprive. That guarantees me that I'll be able to make another land drop, and then I'll have 3 mana up to play Force Negation, even if I don't actually play a creature. So I thought, yeah, that sounds pretty good. And I may even draw a blue spell, so I may be able to play a creature and then even keep Force Negation up anyway. So anyway, I do that. And unfortunately, so the reasoning made sense to me, but unfortunately it does turn out they did draw exactly Drawn in the Lock. But at least I'm able to flashback this Merfolk Trickster because it's instant speed, so I can still get use out of Lurrus this turn. It's important to remember, This is still on my turn, so I still can flash this back. And since it's instant speed, it doesn't matter that it's not my main phase yet. So thankfully, at least I get some little extra value out of Lurrus before it dies. I get to get an attack in. I did obviously tap the 0/3 so that, you know, they don't have as good a good block. And yeah, so yeah, they played Visions of Beyond, and that was a pretty easy. It's a pretty easy use of Force Negation there, because we probably would have just been dead. They would have had like a fetch land that's instantly 12 cards milled, and then all they need is another like Maddening Cacophony or Glimpse of the Unthinkable or something. So hey, we're drawing more removal, but I feel like we got to turn the pressure on, because we can't counter land drops. And you know, they might not block, which they didn't actually, because you know they can't afford to lose their Ruin Crab at this point. So you know. So they put Lurrus in, or they put, oh yeah, Bantu's Last Reckoning. So it's good that we got in with the creatures while we could, although at the same time we could have, anyway. But, you know, we're still in a pretty decent position because they can't untap their lands. We can hit in with a Creeping Tar Pit. This is definitely a good showing for Creeping Tar Pit right here. This does actually put them to lethal next turn, and their lands are going to be tapped, so yeah, they're kind of out of options, and they concede, and that's that. So, yeah, cool stuff. Mill, I think, is a relatively good matchup for Merfolk. Obviously, they've gotten a lot better lately with all these new additions, but fundamentally, we have the counter magic to deal with their mill spell cards. We've got Dismember to deal with their. The biggest problem actually is sometimes their crabs are out of control. They make no mistake. If they had more land drops and they had more fetch lands, then we would have lost this game, and all the Force Negations in the world wouldn't have saved us. So the matchup could actually have swung in their favor. It's not 100% clear. We definitely did not see the best showing of a multiple crab mill out session, but we do have the tools to win. That doesn't always mean we're going to. And like I said, actually, maybe Chalice of the Void actually is the way to go instead of Nihil Spellbomb, because they do play obviously a lot of discard spells. They play Fatal Push. They play Surgical Extraction. They play Visions of Beyond. And they play, obviously, their 8 crabs. So there's actually a lot of stuff that Chalice on 1 shuts off. So anyway, it's cool stuff. Hey, we're 3-0. This is suddenly the best league that I've done. I mean, it just happened to be doing the best when I'm recording. I don't think it's because I'm recording, but I'll take it. You know, best league so far in the Tibalt's Trickery world we're now living in. Tibalt's Trickery just released not so long ago. We haven't run into Trickery yet, so let's see. But we do have 8 counter spells in the main, and we've got another 4 in the sideboard in the form of Disrupting Shoal. So let's see. All right.